you very, very much
for
organising this, and we do appreciate people coming and having a look, not just at Dalby, the Western Downs, Queensland, but Australia, because we're all part of that great community. And from our region, I have a great privilege of being mayor of the region, but also very, very proud of what we produce, and whether it's from education, primary production, manufacturing, and things that we export. So hopefully, as you're touring around, you get the opportunity to see how great our community is, what we do here, and maybe there's opportunities that we can build some relationships and maybe some business opportunities that we see, giving us a great capacity within our region. So with those few words, once again, a very, very big welcome to everyone. And I might hand over to our CEO, Ross Musgrove, who is the driving force behind this council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And also, I'd like to thank Penny. I met Penny for the first time maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and straight away I knew that she was somebody with a lot of energy and is really driven. And I bump into her in the street now, and because she spends a lot of time here, and it's great to have a business person who really is looking for opportunity and for her business, but also understands the importance of connecting to the community in which you have the business. Because this is a very important thing, whether you're in Australia or Malaysia. You must also connect with the community, not just as a business, but to become part of it. And that's what Penny has done. So good morning, Master Chair, Vistage VE members and families. My name is Ross Musgrove. I'm the CEO of the Western Downs Regional Council. I'd like to thank you for visiting our council. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to our wonderful region and to share a little of what makes us proud to call this area home. Our council area is a bit bigger than Switzerland, incredibly, a bit bigger than Switzerland, but we don't have Roger Federer, which is but it's a very big area. It's 38,000 square kilometres. It's if you know Tasmania, the state of Tasmania in Australia, they're a little bit down the bottom. So we're nearly the same size as Tasmania. So quite a big region. Our greatest strength here is our strong and diverse economy. It's this diverse economy that supports strong local communities. We have a growing population of almost 34,000, and we have a skilled workforce and a thriving jobs market. We're very proud that our region has one of the state's lowest unemployment rates. So currently at about 5.6%. So very low unemployment rate. That's because we have such a strong economy. Located in the heart of the resource-rich Surat Basin, the Western Downs is the energy capital of Queensland and is fast becoming the energy capital of Australia. We have a diversified energy portfolio with 5 pillars of energy generation: coal, gas, ethanol, wind and solar. So coal, gas, ethanol, wind and solar. 5 separate but interlocking pieces of the energy puzzle. We are open for business, and our modern planning scheme introduced last year is bringing investors and developers right to our doorstep. Large retailers such as Bunnings and Aldi have done their research and chosen to open stores recently in our region. For those seeking a tree change but who also want great employment prospects, the Western Downs is simply the best of modern country living. Our economy is underpinned by 4 cornerstones: agriculture, intensive agriculture, energy and manufacturing, such as Penny's business. I'm proud to say that the Western Downs is leading Queensland in job creation, and we are working hard to build a diverse and resilient economy. Agriculture is the traditional backbone of our economy, with our region one of Australia's largest primary producers. We produce high-grade beef, pork, lamb, watermelon, chickpeas, mung beans, cotton, the mayor's a cotton farmer, sorghum and other commodities for national and international export. We have great connectivity to markets thanks to our extensive road networks and as well as rail, allowing freight to go to the Port of Brisbane and to Wellcamp Airport, which is only 80 kilometres away for the overseas market. Our agricultural sector also provides a stimulus for support industries such as transport, manufacturing and labour. Intensive agriculture is really exciting. There's a lot of growth in this sector in the Western Downs at the moment, and the numbers speak for themselves. We have 68 feedlots with cattle, so that's a feedlot has cattle in it, for in excess of 265,000 cattle, so 68 feedlots with 265,000 standard cattle units, so that's cows. We have 23 piggeries with 229,000 pigs. So, and one of those has 130,000. Just one of those has 130,000 pigs at any one time. It's one of the fastest growing sectors in the Western Downs, and the demand for our high quality beef and pork is growing. Wellcamp Airport is but an hour away in Toowoomba, and it exports chilled beef weekly to international markets on its freighter service that goes into China. The Western Downs has everything needed for success in intensive agriculture. We've got sun, like today, beautiful sunny day here. Water, space, skilled labour and construction capacity. Feedlots have excellent conditions. Our stock is moved without stress and has enough space and high-grade feed to ensure internationally sought-after meat. We have in fact arranged for you to visit and tour one of our feedlots tomorrow, so I hope you enjoy that. 70% of the beef produced in the Western Downs is exported out of Australia, 70%. And it's all high quality. Wagyu, Wagyu cross, a lot of it to China, and a lot of it to Japan. Very important markets, but the beef that we put through our area is the highest quality in Australia, the absolute highest quality. We, as a council, also run the sale yards to sell the beef, to sell a lot of the beef, the sale yards. So through there, we put through 200,000 cattle every year, and they sell for about $250 million per year through our sale yards. Manufacturing is the second pillar of our economy, with 123 manufacturing businesses in the Western Downs. The quality of the work is outstanding. We have niche products created right here in family businesses such as White Industries, which is a foundry, which are distributed not only Australia-wide but overseas. And White Industries supply high quality, very, very high quality components for the mining industry and the car industry right around the world, incredibly, just from Dalby. This includes turbocharger cylinder heads for the American NASCAR racing cars. Have you ever seen the NASCAR racing cars that go around the banked tracks, the oval tracks in America?
The turbochargers are from here, or?
Yeah, the superchargers are made here. The casing for the superchargers are made here. Because this is the best place to get those high quality components that operate at very high temperatures made. They also make componentry in the mining industry. Similar thing, where you have very high temperature, high temperatures and high stress loads. They make the casings for a lot of mining equipment here in Dalby. You can get it cheaper somewhere else, but you can't get the same quality as you can get here. And the downtime on a mining machine that you would lose if a component failed will cost you many, many millions of dollars. So it's worth it to pay the right price to get the right product the first time. The same thing in a NASCAR. if your turbocharger fails,
You're
then
lost.
you lose the race. You can't have your turbocharger fail. So you pay the highest price to get the highest quality so that you can win the race. And that's why people go to the foundry here. So we've got also an export innovative agricultural equipment. We've got a lot of agricultural equipment which is produced here. It's exported to places like Russia and Canada, of course, generally across Europe, all from Dalby, all from some of the businesses that we have in Dalby. And this provides excellent career pathways. Children who grow up and go to our schools can move into the manufacturing industries here and don't need to go to the big city. They can stay and get a job here and bring up their families and live a prosperous life right here in the Western Downs. We've got 5 pillars of energy, of course. We're home to a coal-fired power station at Kogan Creek, which is about 750 megawatts. We've got also 5 gas-fired power stations. Very important, 5 gas-fired power stations here in the Western Downs as well. But of course, there's new technology in energy production as well. And so we're leading the way with clean, green, progressive energy. The Cooper's Gap wind farm, for example, is 453 megawatts, 123 wind towers being built just out of town to the north side of town. It's the biggest wind generator in Australia. The biggest wind generator in Australia, 453 megawatts. It's under construction right now. And there's 350 jobs that go with that construction, and it will produce enough energy to power 260,000 Australian homes. And all of that power is being developed right here on our doorstep. The Western Downs is currently experiencing our second wave of the energy boom, following the coal seam gas mining boom that began 5 years ago. And this second wave of energy is renewables, and it's wind, but it's also solar. We've got a large amount of solar installations happening. We have approved in our region recently 11 solar farms across the Western Downs, including one of the world's largest with Equus Energy, which is owned by Global Infrastructure Partners, a company you may have heard of, one of the largest companies in the world. They have a 1,000 megawatt solar plant we've approved in Wandowan, and that is one of the largest in the world. So to this date, we've approved more than about 3.5 megawatts of renewables, and a large amount of that is actually underway. We also have the Dalby biorefinery ethanol plant. I think we're trying to get you on the tour there tomorrow, I think. Yep. And which is a very interesting tour. So that makes about 76 million litres of ethanol per year. And of course that ethanol that's made there is coming from the crops in our area. So the crops go there, go through a process and create ethanol. You'll see how that all works tomorrow. They're expanding to 100 million litres per year with an expansion that they're currently is underway out there. And of course, our region remains a very key player in the coal seam gas industry in our area, and that's a very vibrant industry. We have 3 major gas companies active in our region, and so that is Shell, we have Santos, who are in partnership with Total, and we have also Arrow Energy, who are in partnership with Shell as well, but also Chinese petrochemical company, and we have Origin Energy as well. So very significant players. Last year, Arrow Energy announced a significant 27-year joint venture with Shell through QC LNG to commercialise Arrow's gas reserves in the region. This is a $28 billion expansion, 28 billion Australian dollar expansion. So it's a very, very large expansion. And that's just one company. All of the gas companies in our area are currently expanding, which is great to see. Putting down more wells, growing all the time. You know, gas is, of course, like any other commodity, it depends on the price, the oil price in this case for gas. And with the oil price going up, gas activity is going up. So that's great to see. We're not only producing gas for export, but a new petroleum lease approved in the Surat Basin in March means that there's also increase in domestic market gas. And in fact, in recent weeks, the state government released 3 new tenements for tender. Some very, very large tenements in there for new gas development in our area. And it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. I believe that at least some of those will probably become active over the next few years. So the gas industry is by no means standing still, it's growing. It is, like any other commodity market, dependent on the oil price, but the oil price is recovering, and as it recovers, the gas industry will recover and expand as we're seeing right now. So we have a council here that's very much open for business, and I think Penny will have found this when she's dealt with us. Yeah. We're very business orientated in the council. We want to make new investment happen. We have over $6 billion worth of approved renewables on the books. And we have 1.2 billion of those currently under construction. All of those we've done approvals for very recently. Those projects under construction are the APA Darling Downs Solar Farm, which I think, have you seen that? No, you're not seeing that?
Not yet.
Okay, well, it's a very large solar farm, and the Cooper's Gap Wind Farm. The 11 solar farms we've approved will generate about 3,000 jobs across the construction and operational phase. The legacy of the connectivity to the national power grid that the mining boom gave us has set up the renewables sector for success. So, to explain this, when the coal seam gas sector came in to our area and wanted to put down the wells and to export the gas, of course they needed a lot of infrastructure, compressor stations to compress the gas, to put it into the pipelines, to send it to the coast. And they needed a lot of electricity generation to go along with that, a lot of high voltage lines, and a lot of substations. Those very substations and high voltage lines are what the solar and wind generators are now plugging into to use the same infrastructure, which makes it cheaper to build a solar or wind station here, because there's not only is the infrastructure here, but it's brand new. It's the finest quality, only built in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's a perfect place for people to invest in this new technology. So 44 of Queensland's 241 substations are located in the Western Downs. So you know, that's 1/5, even though we're only a small part of Queensland, 1/5 of all the substations are here. And of course, because we're away from the coast, we have fewer cloudy days. So the further away from the coast you get, the less cloud.
Is this under a fit-in tariff, or how do we sell? Do they sell the power back to the town council, or?
No, we don't buy the power. The power goes into the grid.
Into the grid.
And the power generated here is sold all across the east coast of Australia.
Okay.
Everywhere from Tasmania in the South Australia, all the way up to Rockhampton, about midway up our coast, and everywhere in between. So the power sold here can be sold anywhere across the east coast of Australia.
What are the rates like? What are the fit-in rates like?
Well, they vary. So off-takes in Australia are typically being sold at the moment, off-take agreements at about the $70 Australian megawatt hour. So that's about $50 US a megawatt hour, thereabouts. Which is a lot cheaper than in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a lot cheaper to produce power in Australia than it is in Europe.
Mm.
So that's for sure. So whether it's, it doesn't really matter whether it's renewables or coal-fired power is cheap. We have very good quality coal here, and very easy to extract. And gas, of course, is in plentiful supply as well. So generally our power prices overall are pretty low.
What are the industrial rates like for?
I couldn't tell you what the industrial rate is, but I'm
tariffs.
sure Penny can.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't know too. I'll be honest, because honestly,
It must be cheap in that case. It must be so cheap she doesn't pay attention to it.
That's right. So cheap it doesn't matter.
Can I just, Ross, well, I just add a comment quickly, and Ross probably knows a bit more about this, but speaking to the state government, one of the assets for the state is power generation, and the amount of profitability coming back to the state has been, they've been refunding some of that back to our users of power, so we've seen a little bit of reduction. We talk about power being very expensive at the moment. The state, from the funds that they're receiving through the interconnect, and what Ross is talking about, selling power right down to Tasmania, our state is benefiting very much to the extent of 200 million? 800 million a year that can be rebated back to the community or used to build assets for the community. So very, very important from our point of view as a local government that we have the capacity to be part of that. We're generating the base commodity power, and the state is benefiting as well. We're benefiting because of growth in the region, but the state is certainly benefiting, and that's the strength of that interconnect, as Ross just mentioned, about where we are and our capacity to build the 44 our connectivity with the rest of the East Coast of Australia is very, very important to our state as well.
Okay.
so that means the power actually produced and sell throughout the nations,
Yes.
so to every
Yeah, not the West Coast, but the
East
East
Coast.
Coast.
East Coast. All right, okay.
So our community and our economy has thrived here in the Western Downs because of our diversity. You can see we're not just gas, we're not just manufacturing, we're not just agriculture. We're a mix of everything, and that means that our economy and our community is thriving. We have a great connectivity via the Warrego Highway, which is being upgraded, so there'll be a bypass soon around Toowoomba, so you won't have to go through Toowoomba, all the traffic lights. That will cut half an hour off the trip between here and Brisbane. So in fact, from my office to the CBD of Brisbane, we will be able to drive in under 2 hours soon when that opens, the new road opens.
Oh.
And it makes a lot of difference for me driving my car. It makes much more difference for a truck. Save half an hour on the, well, they save more time on the journey, much more time, because of how slowly they have to go down the hills or up the hills. So it will save 45 minutes probably each way for a truck.
Well, I thought it's those turbochargers that you guys make here in the trucks, you know?
So that's a great thing too. So we've got the secret to our success is really our planning scheme. So it's okay to have somebody with a good business idea, but it has to get approval to become a reality. It has to have approval from a council in Australia to become a reality. How fast we can do that is really important. We understand that time equals money. If we take a long time, it's costing you money. We understand this point very much. Both the Mayor and myself have worked, and of course he still is, in the private sector. I've worked in the private sector trying to get approvals for, in my case, mining companies. So I understand that time equals money. So we have changed our planning scheme to make it the most contemporary in terms of not only being fast, but also recognising the impacts on community and properly addressing those as well. Because you can't just come and build something wherever you want. It has to be acceptable to the community as well.
Yep.
So, but we can do all of that very quickly, quicker here than anywhere. So we're very, very proud. So we have a regulatory role, but our primary focus is on enabling development. Okay, so yes, we have to be a regulator, but we also have to be an enabler. This is something that we care very much about. So we ask ourselves, when somebody comes to see us, is this development good for our region? And if it is, then we determine how and what we can do to help make it happen. And sometimes that's just dealing with our own processes, but sometimes it might be talking to the state government if you have a problem with the state government. Sometimes it might be talking to the federal government if you have a problem with the federal government. But we need to be an enabler as well as just a regulator, and this is a very important thing. So we take a proactive approach towards development and with developers in our region. We have removed red tape and we understand that time equals money. It's all about early engagement, and we put significant liaison work in early to make sure that applications are assessment ready when they're received. And we've done this with Penny, with her business. We sit down and we have good conversations first before we get an application in, so that we understand each other and we understand what the boundaries are. And this is a very important thing. The statutory requirement under law is that we have to assess planning applications in 70 days. So we have 70 days to assess those planning applications. But you know what our average is here? 13.5 days.
Wow.
13.5 days is our average.
Working days or? Well, that's still impressive.
We work seven days.
So we're very, very proud of that. That cannot be beaten by anybody. We really throw ourselves into that and make sure that we are not an inhibitor to development. Our development approvals for solar farms and feedlots, so they're very big applications. They're typically investments of more than $1 billion. We usually are doing those in under 8 weeks for $1 billion development. That's incredible, you know. And that's why people are choosing our area to build these significant investments. So we've developed a strong reputation here in the Western Downs for working alongside business to get new investment happening. And investors from Australia and from the globe, like yourselves, are taking notice. Just in the 2017 calendar year alone, Council assessed $2.19 billion worth of new development applications. Now, we're a small country area. I can tell you that is bigger than most city areas in Australia, certainly in Queensland. So you can see the kind of activity that's going on here. And that figure speaks volumes about our investment attraction strategy, and something that we're, again, very, very proud of. It's important that people want to invest here, but just as important is that people want to live here. Just as important is that people want to live here. So we have also created a strategy about improving the livability of our area, and one of the ways we've done that is with our events. We have wonderful events for families to attend when they live here, and we've just had the opera for opera at Jimba, which is a large open-air opera. Are you going to Jimba House by any chance?
Yes, I've been there. Yep.
Yeah, you've been there? Are you taking your guests to Jimba House?
They are, maybe when we sort of like we are going to Vanya Mountain, maybe on the way I can detour and show them that, yeah, Jimba House.
Jimba House is spectacular. It's this house here. You can only see a little bit of it. It's a grand mansion, very, very grand mansion. And we have the opera out there, out in the field. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. We also have the Chinchilla Melon Festival, the Tara Camel Festival, and our most recent new event that we had only a few weeks ago was Big Skies. Did you get along to that, Penny?
No, because I was not here. I was in overseas.
Okay, and you're in Malaysia?
That's
okay.
Right, yeah.
We have to come next year.
Yes, all right, definitely. Yes, we will. I will.
So here you can see the Big Skies. Here, this is the Big Skies event that we had. And you can see the house in the background, and the stage with the we had rock bands on the stage, and all the families here. sitting in the chairs, watching. It went all day and all night. It was a wonderful event, a family event, and for the people in our region, but also for tourists as well. So it's really important that we have events like this to create the livability, because it can't just be an economic decision to live here. It also has to be about there's a good lifestyle here too. So this region has plenty to offer, and our team is capitalising on the lucrative tourism drive market through our regional tourism strategy. There's lots to see and do in the Western Downs, as you'll find out over the next couple of days. We boast an array of attractions that has something for everyone. Step back in time at one of our beautifully maintained museums with authentic pioneering memorabilia, or browse an exhibition at one of our quality galleries. You can camp under the stars, if you like, beside one of our natural lagoons, fish for yellowbelly in our plentiful waterways, or take a walk through the spectacular Bunya Mountains, which I know you're going to enjoy a lot. Up at the Bunya Mountains, you'll find subtropical green rainforest, which is just beautiful at this time of year, I must say, with the cool weather. Make sure you wear a coat. It's very important. It'll be cool up there. The world's largest forest of bunya pines, and I'm sure, Penny, that your group will really enjoy themselves up there.
I'm sure they will.
So, why is the Western Downs such a great place to work and live? We aren't just about attracting business, we're about attracting people. Very important. We pride ourselves in delivering the services that make this region such a fantastic place to live. As I said, it's an area the size of Switzerland, but we've got 10,000 kilometres of bridges and roads, and those roads are not only what connects family and friends in our region, they connect us to business opportunities. Every one of those roads leads somewhere that we can do business with, and that's a very important thing. We've got a low unemployment rate, and so we have a very low crime rate. If you walk around our town, you won't see any graffiti.
Yeah, it's very clean.
Very clean. That's because low crime rate, because everybody's got a job. So no time to sit around and make time. Want to go to work. So this is a very important thing. We have career pathways for our youth. We know that strong unemployment opportunities mean strong families and strong communities. This is a great place to live and work, and people are really starting to notice. We invest in facilities in public pleasure. We're building a new botanic gardens in Chinchilla, which is one of our major towns, just 100 kilometres away from here. And it's going to have a water park area that the kids will love. Maybe not in winter. In summer, the kids will love it. But an area where the entire community can gather together for concerts and community events, really important. Please enjoy your next 3 days in the Western Downs. I'm sure you'll experience our region's hospitality, and we invite you back to come again and have another look. I can say that I'm a very strong advocate for this region, but I've only lived here 3 years.
Huh.
I came from Brisbane. I worked in the city in Brisbane, and I moved here by choice. And I stay here by choice because this is a wonderful place to live with tremendous prospects for our economy and wonderful people. And I hope you find the same thing. Thank you very much.
Can I sort of say something as well?
Yes, absolutely. Away you go. I'm happy to take questions, by the way.
Yeah, I'll ask you about my application. That's the reason, right? I have to force you to answer that. Yeah, morning Paul, morning Frost, and morning Tree. Thanks for everything. And good morning to everybody. I know that Mayor is a very busy person, and I am very, very proud for our team, and appreciate that you take your free time to come and visit us. Come and receive us, sorry, all right, not visit us, all right, yeah. So receive us, all right. We really feel important, and appreciative of what you have done. Thank you very much. Okay. So I will say as a token of saying thank you, we Vistage have a gift for the council, and I would like to invite my chair, group chair, Simon, to say a few words at the same time to give away this gift to the council. Thank you.